Hi, this is Shankar, and today, on the occasion of today's Choti Diwali or Narak Chaudas, I'm making this short video on the impact of Saturn and Mars. They are very dreaded planets, and I just want to explain the basics of predictive astrology as far as Saturn and Mars is concerned. As far as my experience goes, Mars is a very strong planet, a planet which can do things which are required for you to be successful. So, and Saturn is a planet which has got the kartatva of lot of 6th, 8th, and 12th, which is enemies, diseases, death, expenditure, losses. It's and delays in these things are good. So Saturn is a positive as well as a negative factors in all these places, but it has the kartatva of 6th, 8th, and 12th. While Mars has the kartatva of 3rd and 6th, it is positive. 3rd is for energy, and 6th is for destruction of your enemies, diseases, and deaths. So Mars and Saturn have a relationship that way, and let us understand what is the relationship of Saturn and Mars when they are seen in predictive astrology. As far as I'm concerned, whenever Saturn is under the control of Mars, it gives a very positive results, and whenever Mars is in control of Saturn, it will give negative results. So let us see if there is a third aspect of Saturn on Mars. That is, Saturn starts controlling Mars, and whenever Saturn starts controlling Mars, it's going to be destructive. And let us see the eighth aspect of Mars and Saturn. That is, Mars is in Lagna and Saturn is placed eighth to it. Suppose that way. And there is the eighth aspect of Mars and Saturn. That is, Saturn is controlled by Mars, and whenever Mars gets the energy of Saturn, whenever Saturn gets his energy, or Mars gets the energy of Saturn. Saturn is a huge energetic planet. It is the kartatva of work. It can do a lot of hard work, toil. It is massive energy, and when this massive energy gets the intellect and the fighting power, the valor, the thought, the action of Mars, then sky is the limit. A lot of entrepreneurs, industrialists, and politicians have in their horoscope a system where indications are very clear in these horoscopes that it is Saturn lends its energy to Mars. That is, Mars controls the energy of Saturn, and wherever Mars controls the energy of Saturn, which I've tried to explain you in a very short way with the theory of aspects, then it is positive. Now you would ask, what happens when Saturn and Mars have got a mutual aspect, which is Saturn aspects Mars and Mars aspects Saturn. Let us understand, you have to see it in this way. Saturn gives it energy to Mars, and on the other hand, Mars also gives it energy to Saturn. So it has both positive and negative aspects. When you see aspects, then you have to see when Saturn aspects Mars, that is, Saturn is giving its negative energy to Mars, and when Mars aspects Saturn, that is when they are even opposite each other. Mars aspects Saturn, that is, Mars is also Mars is also controlling the energy of Saturn. So it's both ways. And such people, you would always see whenever Saturn and Mars are opposite to each other, are aspecting each other, then you would always see that such people are people who care a damn. They would, if अगर उन्होंने अपना मुंह फेर लिया तो फेर लिया. They can walk away from a situation very fast. They can be positive as well as they can be negative, but this would again depend upon what is the benefic aspects on Saturn, what are the benefic aspects on Mars, what are the lordships, etc. And then you carefully analyze whenever Saturn and Mars are mutually aspecting each other. It also happens when Saturn and Mars are in squares to each other. That is when then it is Mars gives its whenever Saturn and Mars are in square, then Mars with its fourth aspect Saturn, and Saturn with its 10th aspects gives its aspect to Mars. So again, it's a matter of how you see, but here you have to understand that both the things are happening. A certain amount of energy at times is controlled by Saturn. That is, Saturn controls Mars, negative, and whenever Mars controls Saturn, it is positive. So you have to see which aspects those energies come out in, and this is the play of energy. You have to see the basic things, where it is placed, in which houses it is placed, what are the rashis, what is the what do these rashis signify. Never forget the first basic principles of astrology, and then you analyze it. It would be better. But net is that whenever it is a one-way aspect, that is the energy of Saturn is controlled by Mars. It is excellent, explosive, and positive, and vice versa, it will create problems. So this is what you have to remember. And Saturn and Mars, remember one thing, they're only good when I talk about Saturn and Mars. They're good for non-life things. They're not good for emotional aspects. Both these planets are not good for things like emotion, marriage, compassion, forgiveness. These kinds of things are not known to Saturn and Mars. They don't understand these things. So let's understand they're only good for non-life things. And today being Deepavali, and we are discussing about everybody thinks about Lakshmi and money, and people do not think about compassion, giving, forgiving, love, joy. Those are not things which are, that is not the mood of Deepavali. The mood of Deepavali is that, this year is going to be great. We're going to have more money, more materialistic things, more comforts, and perhaps all these things will give you joy. So that is where these two planets are extremely important. With this, I'd like to finish the video. Thanks. Bye for now. You have all my details down. You can also contact me at connectingminds@gmail.com, and if I have the time, I will answer you. Thanks. Bye.